Hey guys, what's up? It's Charlie here, and today we're going to be looking at the 10 faces behind your favorite childhood cartoon characters. We all loved cartoons as kids, and even if you're older now, I bet you still remember them with nostalgia. Well, here are the voices and faces of your favorite cartoon characters from your childhood. Get ready to be seriously shocked by some of these, but take a nostalgia trip at the same time. Before we get started, be sure to subscribe and press the notification bell too. Coming in at number 10, we have SpongeBob SquarePants. Let's kick things off with one of the most popular cartoon characters of all time. SpongeBob is one of the most successful cartoons of all time and has been in production since 1999. SpongeBob has a very distinctive voice and laugh. It's very squeaky and high and doesn't sound like a voice anyone would be able to do. However, one man named Tom Kenny from New York, USA is behind the voice. He's been doing it ever since episode 1 and he still feels like he's living a dream job. Surprisingly, his regular voice is totally normal, but he can switch seamlessly between speaking normally and speaking like SpongeBob. He says he loves doing the voice and even does it for free for people's answer phones or anything they want if they see him in real life. He's been doing it for so long, he's accumulated a lot of cash and is reportedly worth around $16 million. Before we move on to the next character, have you ever wanted to know how to do the SpongeBob laugh? According to Tom, it's simple. You simply make an ah sound while tapping your neck. Try it and see if you can do it. Next up is Dexter. One of the most memorable childhood cartoon characters has to be Dexter from Dexter's Laboratory. And that character also happens to have one of the most memorable voices ever. Despite being the genius kid of an American family, he spoke with a sort of German accent that confused many people. But who was behind this bizarre yet awesome voice? Well, that would be Christine Cavanaugh from Utah, USA. That's right, a woman was behind the character of Dexter all along. You see, women don't have to try all that hard to sound like a little boy, so that's why it's actually pretty common for women to voice a young male character. However, this voice reveal comes with a sad twist, as Christine actually passed away in 2014 at the age of 51 from undisclosed causes. There are many theories on the cause of her passing, but it's officially unknown. She will of course be missed, but at least her amazing vocal diversity and talents will always be preserved in cartoons. And as a bonus, she was the original voice of CHUCKIE Finster from the Rugrats for the first few episodes. Next up is Kenny McCormick. Kenny is of course one of the 4 main kids on South Park. This may seem like an odd one to include on the list, as he never really speaks. But if you're a South Park fan, you'll know that he does actually reveal his face and speak a few times. And Kenny is actually voiced by 3 different people. In the South Park episodes, the mumbling is done by Matt Stone, who is the co-creator of South Park. Then in the South Park movie, when Kenny's face is finally revealed, he's voiced by Mike Judge. And after the movie and other South Park episodes which include him speaking, Eric Stowe is his voice. Kenny sure is a mysterious and confusing character, so I guess it's only right to have so many people voicing him. Which is your favorite voice of Kenny, the mumbling, the movie voice, or the episode's voice? Kenny is still in the most recent series, 21, and still has a prominent character role despite being replaced by Butters for a few seasons. But he's always made an impression on the viewers ever since the first episode in 1997. Next up is Homer Simpson. The Simpsons is the most successful cartoon of all time and has been running for 28 years. We've all grown up with it, and perhaps even your parents remember this cartoon when they were children. All of the characters are iconic, from Cletus to Bumblebee Man. But we all know and love the main central character, Homer Simpson. He's voiced by Dan Castellaneta from Chicago, USA. Some say Dan looks a bit like Homer Simpson, but of course his looks have changed over time as he's been playing Homer Simpson for more than half his life. Who knows, maybe after 28 years of voicing the character, he's finally turning into him. After all of that time, he's made $60 million, being paid around $500,000 per episode. It's surprising he still does it after being able to retire decades ago. In real life, he's very unlike Homer, as he's vegetarian and doesn't drink, so no more duff for him. He says he enjoys his job, but it would be nice to spend more time in his Tai Chi practice. As well as Homer, Dan also voices Abe, Barney, Krusty, Mel, Willie, Mayor Quimby, Mole Man, and many more. So this guy is probably responsible for some of your favorite cartoon characters. Next up, we have Johnny Bravo. This has to be the smoothest cartoon character of all time. Johnny Bravo was a classic Hanna-Barbera cartoon which played a big part in many people's childhoods. But who was behind the voice of the overconfident, karate-chopping, tightly clothed cartoon character? Well, that would be Jeff Bennett from Texas, USA. He voiced Bravo for the entire 4 seasons. And as a fun extra fact, Tom Kenny, aka SpongeBob, was the voice of Johnny's best friend and nerdy neighbor Carl Chesnovics. And as if that wasn't enough super famous people working on one show, Family Guy creator Seth MacFarlane actually wrote the scripts for season 1 of Johnny Bravo. Huh, maybe that's why the show was so awesome. If you're in the UK, however, you might know that Johnny Bravo was voiced by Mark Silk, despite Mark trying to sound like Jeff. Even so, this is one great cartoon character that I'm sure messed up our perception of masculinity from a very young age. Next up is Eddie. Of course, one of the most beloved childhood cartoons ever has to be Cartoon Network's Ed, Edd and Eddy. I'm sure we all remember the three Eds' crazy attempts to scam people out of quarters to buy jawbreakers with. But who is the voice behind the leader of the pack, Ed? Well, it's actually a guy named Tony Sampson, who some say looks a little like Ed. He voiced Ed throughout all the seasons of the show. Before and after his role of Ed, he did voices for Dragon Ball Z. And afterwards, he worked as a voice actor for Transformers, X-Men, and various anime cartoons. He looks pretty young, but is actually 40 years old, and only began his voiceover career in 1991. He's made an estimated $2 million from his work. It's not exactly Dan Castellaneta levels of cash, but it is good. And it seems like Tony thinks it's enough, as he retired from voice acting in 2009. He keeps a low profile, and it's not really known what he's doing now. He does still appear at some Dragon Ball Z and anime conventions, but he remains largely under the radar. Perhaps he just got kind of tired of voicing work, or maybe that $2 million is enough for him to retire with. It was always Ed's dream to become a millionaire, and it looks like he's now finally done it. Next up is Chuckie Finster, who remembers the awesome kids show The Rugrats. It's something only true 90s kids will remember and love. Well, you might be shocked when you find out who's behind the role of Tommy Pickles' best friend, Chuckie Finster. It's actually a woman named Nancy Cartwright, who also plays Bart Simpson. She's now super famous and is best known for her work on The Simpsons. But any big fans of The Rugrats will also remember her from this show, as she brought a lot of life to her character. And as you already know, for the first few episodes, Christine Cavanaugh from Dexter's Laboratory played Chuckie. I guess these shows' awesome voice talents are one of the things that made them so great. Who did you prefer voicing Chuckie though, Christine or Nancy? They were both great, but judging by the comments online, it seems that everyone has a favorite. Next up is Pinky. Now it's time for the second most popular cartoon mouse in the world. We all know the cartoon mouse Pinky from Animaniacs and Pinky and the Brain. But who is behind the dopey, hyperactive mouse that was a favorite for many 90s kids? Well, that would be Rob Paulsen from Detroit, USA. He first appeared as Pinky in 1993, and in 1995 he was cast to play Pinky again. Despite this being a while back, Rob still does voice acting to this day and has been going since 1980. Over this time, he's voiced over 250 cartoon characters and has voiced over 1,000 commercials. His voice showcase is actually over 1 hour long, while most are just a few minutes. This guy is also known for his work as Raphael from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. But the question still remains, do you prefer Pinky or the Brain? Most people seem to say Pinky, but what do you think? Next up is Rocco. Who doesn't remember the show Rocco's Modern Life? It was a short-lived but wild show about an Australian wallaby and his friends as they transition to American life. And the man behind Rocco's voice is a guy named Carlos Alazrak. However, despite his name or voice, Carlos is neither Mexican nor Australian. He's from New York and has been in the voice acting game since 1985. He mainly works as a stand-up comic today, which is understandable if you know how hilarious Rocco's Modern Life was. He does other voicing work today, mainly on SpongeBob, where he has over 200 credits for various voices. Some of these are things like Fish 1 or Fish 2, but other things are more common characters. Did you guys watch Rocco's Modern Life when it was on between the years of 1993 to 1996? And if so, do you remember Carlos's awesome voice? Next up is Plank. So we've already covered Kenny from South Park, who almost never speaks. Some think that Plank from Ed, Edd and Eddy never spoke before. But in various dreams and fantasies that the characters had, Plank does speak. There are actually 2 instances of Plank speaking. Can you remember them? Well, it's said that this woman is the voice behind Plank. Don't worry, Plank is a boy, but as you've already seen with Dexter and Bart Simpson, sometimes women can play young boys. The woman is said to be a relative of one of the producers of the show, and that's how she got the job. You see, it was only a minor role for fun, so they decided to give it to her, seeing as she was into acting anyway. Try and find the episodes where Plank actually makes a vocal appearance. And let me know if you think this good-looking woman should have been cast to play the role of a plank of wood. I think she's more suited for the character of Naz. Check out the poll in the top right corner, vote for your favorite voice character on this list. And guys, be sure to check out my second channel on screen in a moment. It's an amazing life hack video I'm sure you'll love, so why not click it and check it out. But as always, thanks for watching. Check out some more videos on screen right now. Leave a like if you enjoyed, and if you haven't already, what are you waiting for? Subscribe to Top 10s.